Hi everyone, welcome back to Small English Talk. If you're learning English, this episode is for you.
We speak slowly. We use clear, simple English, and we talk like real people.
Today's topic is how to change your life in one day.
Not in a dramatic movie way. Not in a wake up at 5 a.m. way.
More like one day that changes your direction.
A day that helps you stop and see your life clearly.
Get comfortable. Let's begin.
Anna, can I say something that might sound a little direct?
Say it.
A lot of people blame themselves too quickly.
Yes, they say things like, I'm lazy, I have no discipline, I'm weak, I never finish anything.
And they say it like it's a fact.
Like it's their personality.
But many times, it's not the truth.
It's just the story they repeat.
And the story becomes a prison.
Okay, let's slow down and make this very clear. If someone is listening right now and they feel stuck, what is really happening?
Usually, they are living in a loop.
A loop?
Yes, a daily loop. They wake up and their brain already knows the day.
So the brain stops being curious.
Exactly. It goes into automatic mode. And automatic mode is not evil. It's normal.
Because the brain wants to save energy.
Yes, thinking deeply all day is tiring, so the brain creates shortcuts.
Like routine.
Routine, habits, repeating patterns.
But here's the problem. If your routine is built for an old version of you, then your life will keep matching that old version.
That is the key.
Many people want a new life, but they keep living with old rules.
Old fears.
Old comfort.
Old identity.
Let's explain identity in simple English. Identity is the way you see yourself.
It's the sentence in your head that starts with, I am.
I am not confident. I am always late. I am not good at English. I am not the type of person who...
And once you believe these sentences, you start living to protect them.
Protect them? That sounds strange.
It is strange, but it's true. Even a negative identity can feel safe.
Because it's familiar.
Yes, familiar feels safe, even when it hurts.
So someone says, I want to change, but inside they feel, if I change, who will I be?
And that fear is real.
This is why change feels heavy, not because the action is impossible, but because it threatens your old self.
So instead of doing the new thing, you delay.
You scroll.
You snack.
You clean your room.
You do anything except the thing that matters.
And then you feel guilty.
Yes, and guilt makes it worse.
Because guilt creates more stress.
And stress makes you want comfort again.
So you go back to the phone.
Back to autopilot.
Back to the loop.
This is why people feel stuck for years.
Okay, I want to say something important here. If you are listening and you feel stuck, please hear this.
You are not broken.
You are not lazy.
You are a human being with a nervous system.
Your brain is trying to protect you from discomfort,
From fear.
from embarrassment,
From failure.
and sometimes from success.
Yes, that's real too.
Why would someone fear success?
Because success creates responsibility. People expect more from you. Your life changes, and change is scary.
So the brain says, stay where you are, it's safer.
And then you call yourself lazy.
But the real problem is not laziness.
It's avoidance.
Avoidance of what?
Avoidance of feelings. The feeling of being new at something. The feeling of being judged. The feeling of not knowing.
That beginner feeling.
Yes, and adults hate that feeling.
Because adults want to look capable.
So they avoid learning, avoid trying, avoid changing.
And they tell themselves a story, I'll start later.
When I have time.
When I feel ready.
When I have more money.
When my life becomes calm.
But life doesn't become calm first.
You create calm by changing how you live.
Exactly.
So now we reach a big question. If the loop is strong, how can one day change anything?
Because one day can interrupt the loop.
How?
Not with huge effort, not with a perfect schedule, but with one powerful thing.
Awareness.
Yes, awareness is like turning on the light.
You stop living inside the habit and you start watching it.
And when you watch it, you start to see patterns.
Like what?
You see what triggers you. For example, you feel pressure, you grab the phone.
You feel bored, you snack.
You feel insecure, you avoid the task.
You feel tired, you cancel your plan.
And again, we don't judge these actions
We observe them.
because observation gives you space.
Space gives you choice.
Choice gives you direction.
And direction is the beginning of change.
So in one day, you can start living with direction,
Not because you become perfect.
but because you become conscious.
And the moment you become conscious,
You are no longer fully controlled by the old loop.
that's huge.
It really is.
Okay, let's make this practical. If tomorrow is your one day, what do you actually do?
Tomorrow, you don't try to do 10 habits.
You don't try to become a superhero.
You try to notice 3 things.
Only 3?
Yes, because simple is sustainable.
Okay, what are the 3 things?
First, notice what you do automatically.
Like picking up the phone.
Yes, or checking messages again and again, or saying yes when you want to say no.
Second,
Notice what you avoid.
the thing you keep pushing away.
Yes, the email, the conversation, the gym, the study, the important but uncomfortable thing.
And the third?
Notice what makes you feel alive, even for 2 minutes.
That's beautiful.
Because that shows your real direction, not your pressure direction, your real direction.
So tomorrow becomes a day of noticing.
Yes, a day of seeing.
And this is why it can change your life.
Because you can't go back to being fully asleep.
Once you see the loop,
You start to step out of it.
and that's the beginning of everything.
In the next part, we'll talk about something people don't expect.
That strange, uncomfortable middle feeling.
When the old life doesn't fit, but the new life isn't clear yet.
That space feels confusing, but it's actually a very good sign.
There is a moment that many people don't expect.
A moment that feels confusing.
You start paying attention. You start noticing your habits. You start seeing your life more clearly.
And instead of feeling happy,
You feel uncomfortable.
sometimes even anxious,
Some people think, something is wrong with me.
but actually, something is changing.
This is the strange middle.
The space between who you were and who you are becoming.
Your old life starts to feel tight.
Like clothes that don't fit anymore,
You still wear them.
but you feel uncomfortable inside them.
Let's describe this feeling clearly so listeners can recognize it.
You wake up and feel restless.
You do your routine, but it feels empty.
Things that used to distract you don't work as well.
Scrolling feels boring.
Watching videos feels noisy.
You feel like you're wasting time, but you don't know what to do instead.
This is very important.
Yes, because many people panic here.
They think, I need to fix this feeling.
So they distract themselves more.
They get busier.
They make big plans they won't follow.
Or they go back to sleep emotionally.
But this feeling is not the enemy,
It's a signal.
a signal that your old identity is weakening.
And that's scary.
Because identity feels like safety.
Even when it limits you.
Let's say this clearly. When your old identity starts to break,
You feel lost.
you feel unsure.
You may even feel sad for no clear reason.
Because something familiar is ending.
Even if it wasn't good.
Humans feel loss even when they lose something unhealthy.
That's normal.
So if someone listening feels this strange sadness,
It doesn't mean you're going backward,
it often means you're moving forward.
but slowly.
and quietly.
This middle space is where many people turn back.
They say, "This feels uncomfortable, I'll stop."
They return to autopilot.
Not because it's better, but because it's familiar.
Let's talk about why the brain hates this middle space.
Because the brain likes certainty.
It wants labels.
I am this kind of person.
I do this kind of life.
But in the middle, labels disappear.
You are no longer fully the old person.
And not yet the new one.
So the brain feels unsafe.
And when the brain feels unsafe, it looks for control.
Control through routines.
Control through habits.
Control through distraction.
That's why people suddenly clean everything.
Or plan their whole future at midnight.
Or watch 10 videos about changing your life.
But planning is not changing.
And distraction is not peace.
So what do you do in this middle space?
You stay.
You don't escape.
You don't rush.
You observe.
This part of change is not active.
It's receptive.
You listen to yourself.
You notice what feels heavy.
And what feels light. You notice when you feel resistance.
Resistance often shows where growth is.
For example,
You think about learning something new.
and your stomach feels tight.
That's fear, not danger.
Fear of being bad at something.
Fear of being seen.
Fear of starting.
In the middle space, you don't fight this fear.
You acknowledge it. You say, "Okay, I see you."
This alone reduces its power.
Because fear grows in the dark.
Awareness is light.
Another important thing in this stage,
You may feel lonely
even if you have people around you,
because your inner world is changing.
and not everyone around you is changing with you.
That can feel isolating.
This is why people sometimes return to old habits, not because they want them, but because they want connection.
So here's something important to remember.
Change does not mean rejecting your old life.
It means gently outgrowing parts of it.
You don't need to fight who you were.
You can thank that version of yourself.
It helped you survive. Now you're learning how to live.
In this middle space, one thing matters most.
Honesty.
Honesty with yourself.
Not dramatic honesty.
Simple honesty.
I don't enjoy this anymore.
I'm scared to change.
I don't know what I want yet. These sentences are powerful.
Because they are real.
And real sentences move life forward.
Fake motivation doesn't.
So if your one day brings this strange feeling,
You are doing it right.
if you feel unsure,
You are doing it right.
if you don't have clear answers,
You are exactly where you should be.
because clarity comes later,
First comes awareness.
then comes discomfort.
Then comes choice.
In the next part, we'll talk about the day itself,
Morning, day, and evening.
not as a challenge,
But as a gentle reset.
something you can actually do,
Without pressure.
without perfection.
Just presence.
Let's talk about the day itself, because many people imagine that changing your life in one day means doing something extreme, when in reality, it usually means doing the same day but with a different level of attention.
Yes, this is not a special day where life stops being difficult, and it's not a day where problems disappear, but it is a day where you stop moving on autopilot and start noticing how you're actually living inside your own time.
The morning is important, not because you need a perfect routine, but because it's the first moment when your mind decides whether it will rush forward or stay present for at least a few minutes.
Most mornings begin with the phone, the notifications, the noise of other people's lives entering your mind before you even remember how you feel. And that alone already pushes you into reaction mode.
So, on this one day, the reset begins with a pause that may feel uncomfortable because instead of escaping into the screen, you stay with yourself long enough to notice your mood, your energy, and the thoughts that are waiting for you.
You don't judge those thoughts, you don't try to fix them, and you don't turn them into motivation quotes. You simply notice that they exist and that they are part of your current reality.
You might realize that you feel tired even though you slept, or anxious even though nothing bad has happened yet, or empty without knowing exactly why. And all of that information matters more than pretending you feel fine.
This honesty in the morning quietly changes the rest of the day, because instead of forcing yourself to act like a productive version of yourself, you move through the day with awareness of your real limits and real needs.
As the day continues, life does not slow down for you. People still ask for things, responsibilities still exist, and your old habits still try to pull you back into rushing, multitasking, and avoiding uncomfortable moments.
The difference is that now, instead of being inside those habits without noticing, you start seeing them as they happen, almost like watching yourself from a small distance.
You notice the moment when stress appears in your body, when your shoulders tighten, when your breathing becomes shallow, and when your mind starts looking for quick comfort instead of meaningful action.
Sometimes that comfort is the phone. Sometimes it's unnecessary food. Sometimes it's busy work that looks productive but actually keeps you away from the one thing you know you should face.
On this one day, you don't need to stop every habit or suddenly become disciplined. You only need to notice the pattern, because noticing already weakens its control over you.
There is something powerful about realizing in the middle of the day that you are choosing distraction not because you are weak, but because you're uncomfortable, uncertain, or afraid of slowing down.
That realization creates a small space, and inside that space, you sometimes find the ability to make a different choice, even if that choice is simply to pause, breathe, and stay present for a few seconds.
Those few seconds might not look impressive, but they change the feeling of the day, because instead of being dragged forward by urgency, you experience moments of intentional movement.
As the afternoon and evening arrive, fatigue often makes people fall back into old patterns, which is why this part of the day is usually where change disappears.
But on this one day, the evening becomes something different. Not a time to judge yourself for what you didn't do, and not a time to escape completely, but a time to quietly reflect.
Reflection does not mean analyzing your entire life. It simply means asking yourself one honest question, like when during this day you felt most calm, most real, or most connected to yourself.
That moment might be small, maybe a short walk, a deep breath, a focused conversation, or even a moment of silence where you didn't try to distract yourself from your thoughts.
That moment matters because it shows you something important about direction, not where you should go, but where your energy naturally feels less heavy.
When you end the day with this kind of awareness instead of self-criticism, something subtle happens inside you, because you stop seeing life as something you constantly fail at and start seeing it as something you are learning to navigate.
This is why one normal day can become a reset, not because it changes your circumstances, but because it changes your relationship with time, attention, and choice.
And once that relationship changes, even slightly, tomorrow no longer feels like a copy of yesterday, because you are no longer completely asleep inside your own routine.
In the next part, we'll talk about what happens after this day and why the real change doesn't come from repeating the day perfectly, but from carrying one simple principle forward. After a day like this, many people wake up the next morning and ask themselves a quiet question, which is not, did my life change, but why do things feel slightly different?
Nothing dramatic happened. Your problems are still there, your responsibilities didn't disappear, and the world did not suddenly become easier. But something inside you shifted in a way that is difficult to explain at first.
What changed is not your situation, but your relationship with your own life, because you are no longer completely identified with every thought, habit, or emotion that passes through you.
Before, when stress appeared, you became the stress. When fear appeared, you became the fear. And when distraction appeared, you followed it without noticing. But now there is a small distance between you and those reactions.
That distance is awareness, and awareness is the most powerful form of change because it doesn't force you to act differently, it simply allows you to choose differently when the moment comes.
This is why one day matters so much. Not because it fixes anything, but because it gives you a reference point, a quiet memory that says, this is what it feels like to be present.
Once you feel that, even briefly, you start recognizing when you are not present, when you are rushing, escaping, or living automatically, and that recognition alone slowly reshapes your behavior.
Many people think they need motivation to continue, but motivation is unreliable, emotional, and temporary, while awareness is stable, calm, and always available.
You don't need to repeat the same perfect day again and again because perfection creates pressure, and pressure always pushes people back into old habits.
When you actually carry forward is much simpler, which is a single principle that gently guides your choices without demanding anything extreme from you.
That principle might sound like pause before reacting, or choose direction over speed, or be honest with myself even when it feels uncomfortable.
This principle becomes something you return to on busy days, difficult days, and days when you feel lost again, because losing clarity is part of being human, not a failure.
Some days you will forget everything we talked about. You will rush, you will distract yourself, and you will fall back into autopilot. And that does not mean the day failed or that you failed.
What matters is that now forgetting feels different because you remember that awareness exists and you know you can return to it without punishment or shame.
This is how one day becomes many days, not through discipline, not through pressure, but through a growing sense of self-respect and self-understanding.
Over time, small choices start stacking quietly. You stop saying yes to things that drain you, you stop rushing into decisions that don't feel right, and you start giving your attention to what actually matters to you.
From the outside, it may look like nothing special is happening, but from the inside, your life begins to feel more aligned, more intentional, and less exhausting.
And one day, often without warning, you look back and realize that the version of you who felt completely stuck no longer exists in the same way.
Not because you became a different person overnight, but because you slowly stopped abandoning yourself in small moments.
That is the real change, the kind that doesn't make noise, doesn't ask for approval, and doesn't need to be explained to anyone else.
So, if someone asks you whether it's possible to change your life in one day, the honest answer is quiet and simple.
Yes, if that day helps you see yourself clearly for the first time in a long while.
Yes, if that day interrupts autopilot and gives you back a sense of choice.
And yes, if that day is not treated as a challenge to win, but as a moment to come back to yourself.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
If this conversation helped you even a little, take one idea from it into your next day.
You don't need to change everything.
You only need to notice one thing.
And start there.
This is Small English Talk.
Slow English.
Real life.
See you next time.